You are watching On Demand. Please do not try to vote or enter any competition or other interactivity in this programme, as it may not count and you may still be charged.
Today on your Loose Women Live, it's Ruth Langsford, Linda Robson, Colleen Nolan, and Janet Street Porter.
Thank you very much. What a lovely welcome. Hello and welcome to you at home as your first Loose Women of the Week. It's lovely to have your company. So coming up today, we're discussing that Partygate video and asking, does the footage make you angry, or do we need to finally just put lockdown behind us? Also, after footballer Peter Crouch has been opening up about his experiences of bullying in childhood, we're revealing the moments that have always stayed with us and asking, can you ever get over a cruel comment from your childhood? And fresh from celebrating Father's Day with his 4-year-old son, Sid, MasterChef's Greg Wallace is our guest today. He'll be talking all things family, food and fitness. So I was going to say let's start with Father's Day. Let's start with your trousers, because you've done nothing but moan since we got in here today.
You know that thing in hot weather where you leave home, you look all smooth, and then you sit down for 2 minutes, and then you've got all these creases radiating out. What do you do about them? So I'm
stroking it like
I'm
that.
hoping they fall out. Yesterday, I read in some trendy fashion magazine, oh, well, if you're wearing linen and it creases, you just whip your trousers off and put them in a washing machine, in a tumble dryer with an ice cube. Like, I'm in the middle of shopping, I'm going to find a tumble dryer and take the pants off.
That is a good tip. It's a really good tip, because I don't do any ironing. So what I do is when I wash my clothes, and then when they're dry, they're creased or whatever, I'll put them in the washing machine, in the dryer, and I'll put a damp cloth in with them, and it takes all the creases out. You can do it with men's suits and everything, honestly.
I have been
really good tip.
I have been known to iron my own crotch at times, but...
But off when the trousers are off, and not when they're on you, hopefully.
Yeah, well,
don't try
you
this at home,
hold it
kids.
near, kind of. Steam iron on the body.
Steaming it. Anyway, I digress. What we were going to talk about was Father's Day. Lots of celebrations, of course, yesterday for all the dads out there. But it will have been a bittersweet day for lots of people, including us, actually. For those who've lost their dads, or perhaps you had a difficult relationship, you're estranged. It's always a poignant day. Did it make you think about your dad? How do you feel about it generally?
It's really weird for me, because obviously, I always think about my dad, and it's hard for me, really, to celebrate Father's Day in one way, because I feel guilty when I don't celebrate it, and I feel guilty if I do, because obviously things happen with my sister. For her, he was abusive and stuff. But I never experienced that side of him or saw that side of him. So I have a lot of nice memories. She has a lot of bad ones. So it's hard for me to post anything.
So do you feel disloyal to your sister?
I feel disloyal to her. Yeah. But then there's an element where I go, now I feel a bit disloyal to him. So I just kind of go, oh, it's Father's Day, and I think about him, and that's that. But I don't tend to put anything on social media or anything, because it can be,
I have that, I love seeing everybody celebrating their dads. It really warms my heart. I look at all the comments and the pictures, and I'm thinking, oh, that's lovely. And then it makes me a bit sad. So I always post a picture of my dad and say, I miss him, and to everyone who's missing their dads. Because all these celebrations, Janet, somebody, everyone's like, yay, but for lots of people, it's very difficult.
Well, it's weird for me, because I'm older than the rest of you, and I didn't grow up with Father's Day. So regardless of what I think about my dad, and I certainly had quite a complicated relationship with him, being born in 1946 and being a child through the 50s, and then a teenager at the end of 50s, early 60s, we didn't have Father's Day. And in fact, I got someone to look it up for me, and Father's Day only really started in this country in 1972. So part of me also thinks we've got Mother's Day, we've got Father's Day, have we got, ingrown toenail day, and what else are we going to celebrate? Because it is a hugely... It's so commercial, and it puts pressure on people at these times when they haven't got a lot of money. They've got to spend money on cards, flowers, blah, blah, blah. And maybe they've got to feel they've got to give meals and have people round when they can't afford it. And I would say if you want to celebrate your dad, your mum or whatever, just give them a hug or do something free, because that's got to be better.
I mean, there are lots of things you can do. It doesn't always have to cost money, Linda. Is it important to mark the occasion?
Yeah, I think it is. But yesterday for breakfast, I went out with my two sisters and we had a good dad. He was a really good dad, but he wasn't a very good husband because he cheated on my mum all the way through. But I think of all the people that have lost their dads. I lost my dad and he was 57 from lung cancer. And I remember thinking at the time, oh, he's old, isn't he? Because I was probably in my 30s then. Then you get to 57 and you think, actually, he was really young, wasn't he? But he started smoking when he was probably about 10. And then I think about Lauren, who lost her dad, like, during COVID and that. So it's a hard time for those people and that. But I've got mostly happy memories of my dad. And then to celebrate, I went and saw Mrs. Doubtfire. And it was brilliant.
Oh, was it good?
So, yeah, it was a little treat for me on Father's Day.
And what about at home, like with the kids, you know, when it's Mother's Day and things, do you need that celebration? Like Janet's saying, you know,
really.
Just tell your
I love
your
Mother's
parents
Day,
you
you
love
get nice cards from the grandchildren and the kids and lovely flowers. I do love flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So,
I love
it's
the
really
way
nice.
my kids, you know, I always say, have you bought, you know, Father's Day cards or... I mean, nowadays people don't even buy the cards, they just put a message on social media or whatever. But I think there's a lot of pressure when it comes to that as well, that if you don't, people are judging you as well. But yeah, I think, especially when they were younger and even now on Mother's Day, I mean, I do sometimes think they feel a massive pressure for it because Mother's Day is so close to my birthday. And then they're like, this is taking the you get them. So I always say, oh, do you know what? It doesn't matter. You know, just
Can we
a
have a
handwritten
Janet
card.
Day? Sorry.
Every day a Janet Day,
Every day is a Janet Day on
Yeah.
Loose Women.
No need to send flowers.
OK, what about this? This is making headlines today. Lots of you will have seen what's being dubbed the latest Partygate video. Conservative officials there at an event. This is organised by Sean Bailey's London mayoral campaign team. That was on the 14th of December 2020. So let me just remind you, that was while the rest of the country was in a tier-based lockdown, and it was just days before the then Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, announced those in Tier 4 could not travel or meet up with anyone at Christmas. Do you remember that? So, yeah, really, really difficult time. So a lot of very angry people about Janet. I mean, we'd seen a photograph of this party before. There was quite a lot of anger just by the photograph. Yeah. Now there's footage. Dancing, drinking. They're even heard to say, oh, you filming this, don't post it anywhere because we're bending the rules.
It's breathtakingly arrogant, isn't it? It's as if they're in a bubble the rest of us are not in. And at the time, Sean Bailey was the chair of the London Assembly Police and Crime Committee. So he was allegedly in charge of ensuring that all the rules around COVID were enforced, and he's at a party where they're clearly not being enforced. And Ben Mallet, who was a senior aide who's also at the party, he was the Tories campaign director for the mayor campaign in 2021. Who's in the pictures, he was awarded an OBE, and by the way, Sean Bailey is now going to the House of Lords. So once again, in this country, there's complete double standards.
Yeah. And that's what so many people are angry about, because at the time we were all, you know, abiding by these rules, these lockdown rules. So many of you getting in touch today. Janet, another Janet, she said, of course I'm angry. I lost my brother and my sister-in-law and was not allowed to hug or sit close to anyone at either of their funerals. My 90-year-old, very confused mother was not able to be seen by a doctor. She ended up in hospital with delirium and we were not able to visit. Sue says, I'm angry, of course, but fed up about hearing about it all. The phrase people in glass houses comes to mind. How many of us can honestly say that they don't know of someone who broke the rules at some time during the pandemic? Can we please just get on with our lives now?
Yeah, well,
so
MPs
those seem
are
to
gonna
be,
vote.
even though there are people who are angry and want something done, people saying they should be stripped of their OBEs or whatever, and other people saying, yes, I'm angry, but let's move on now, it's done.
Yeah, this afternoon MPs are going to vote whether to accept the findings of the Privileges Committee into Boris Johnson's behaviour during all this period too. And it'll be interesting to see how many Tory MPs immediately have business back home and don't turn up in Parliament to vote. And it's almost as if they still don't want to confront the truth, which is a load of people that we voted into public office behaved appallingly and didn't behave the way they all told us to behave night after night.
And I think, you know, it was a party for Sean Bailey, who was the mayoral candidate for London at the time. Surely he's culpable because the people working there were his campaign.
So he wants to be the man to run London.
Yeah.
I mean, talk me through that. That's like me putting me in charge of air traffic control at Heathrow. It's plainly ludicrous.
What did you think, Linda, when you saw that
I
dancing
just
and
thought,
drinking?
I remember how depressing it was, and we were all stuck indoors, and I couldn't go and see my grandchildren like the rest of the country. It was just like the most depressing time ever. I got COVID. My husband wanted to move into an hotel and leave me there on my own. He was so scared of getting it. It was the scariest time, wasn't it? And I think now, looking back, what would my mum have made of it?
I know, and you think, Linda, we used to talk to our friends and have drinks and try and cheer ourselves up. We didn't do that terrible dancing down in the basement or something. We were talking to each other on our phones at 6 o'clock at night, trying to perk ourselves up.
Yeah.
We weren't thinking, oh, we'll just skirt around the rules, no one will notice. We just stuck
We have
to
had
them.
a Conservative Party spokesperson who said senior CCHQ staff became aware, excuse me, of an unauthorised social gathering by the Bailey campaign on the evening of the 14th of December 2020. Formal disciplinary action was taken against the 4 CCHQ staff who were seconded to the Bailey campaign. That's 4. What about Bailey? And what about Ben Mallet?
What about handing the honours back?
And what about handing the honours back? Exactly. Well, let us know what you think about that. I'm sure it's not the last we're going to be hearing about that.
Wait, have you run out of time? You don't want my political opinion?
Oh, do you want to do it?
My political opinion's the same as theirs. We've all just woken up because you got for a break.
I'll do that then. We will go to a break. She's always very involved in our political commentary on Nicole. We've got lots still to come, not politics. We've got a fashion masterclass with none other than Janet Street Porter. You do not want to miss that. She's showing us how to make swim hats made from supermarket bags.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. Also, MasterChef's Greg Wallace is our guest today. He'll be here talking food and family life. There he is with his gorgeous boy, Sid. After the break, we're making 35,000 decisions every single day, don't you know? But should we be getting other people to make the choices for us to avoid decision fatigue? We'll be trying to decide that, right after this break. Welcome back to Loose Women. Now, lots still to come for you today, including our guest, who is MasterChef's Greg Wallace. Also, do you have one cruel comment that has always stuck with you? We're going to be discussing the ones that we've received and how we eventually did get over them. First, competition time. Andy Peters has all the details for you.
Good morning. I've got £250,000 to give away. £250,000 could be in your bank account. Someone's going to win that money, and it really could be you. So I've been out and about to ask people, what would you spend the money on?
Oh my gosh, I would go on a Caribbean holiday. I would probably have a new car and treat the family.
The first thing I would spend it on would be a lovely holiday and treat all the family, my son and my daughter and 2 grandchildren. And I would go somewhere hot and sunny and think about how I would spend the money.
Oh, we'd love to do some more travelling, and it would be brilliant to find a place that we could just call our own. Yeah, a nice little villa somewhere, perhaps.
So, would the new holiday home be at the top of your list, or is it that brand new kitchen that you've always dreamed of? It could all be possible with £250,000. Someone's going to win it, and it could be you. And don't forget, if you enter this week, you'll also be in with the chance of winning this week's bonus prize, a camper van worth more than £87,000. For another chance to win £250,000. Text cash to 82248. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message, or go to the website. Entries cost £2. You can call 09068 782248. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and phone number to Van25, PO Box 7558, Derby, DE1 0NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on Friday the 7th of July. Make sure you enter before 4 p.m. on Friday the 23rd of June for a chance to win the camper van. Good luck.
Thank you, Andy. Yes, good luck with that. Now, did you know that adults make approximately 35,000 decisions every day? 35,000. Yeah, when you think about, like, everything you do from the moment you wake up,
A lot of decisions,
like, do you clean your teeth first? Do you do this? Do you get into the shower
tea? Do you
first?
want coffee?
Do you want
Yeah.
tea? Do you want coffee? You're going to have toast, you're going to have jam or honey, and so it goes on. And it's leading to a rise in what psychologists are calling decision fatigue. This is where our ability to make good choices is ruined by the overwhelming amount of things that we have to decide. So some of them suggest a good way to get over that is to delegate your decisions out. OK, so if you're going, oh, I can't decide, get someone else to do it. Who wants to go first, or can't you decide? See what I did there, Cole?
Yeah, you were moaning. You
See what I did there? That woke you up, didn't it? Eh?
It did. It's about time. I know exactly what they mean. And I think it's happened more to me because obviously when I was married and in a relationship, you do share the decisions. And then since I've been on my own, honestly, I get so fed up of making decisions and I do sit there and go, I don't know, do whatever you want, you decide.
And do you mean like just household things or where
What
should
do
we
you
go on
want for
holiday, what should
dinner?
we watch?
Where do you want to go? What should we do? I'm so sick of making decisions. And it's quite nice, you know, for someone else to make them now and again because they do wear me out. I'm not good at... I don't care. That's my point. That's my issue in life. I actually don't care what we have for dinner. I don't care if I have tea, coffee. I don't care what you wear.
I care about everything. And I'm very good at making decisions. And how I minimise the amount of decisions is I eat the same breakfast every day at the same time.
I have the same breakfast.
So take
Yeah, well,
choice
that's
away.
a whole lot of decisions done for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Actually.
So you just take the choice away?
I don't want the choice. Choice is a terribly crippling thing. You know, we were talking earlier about how Father's Day didn't exist until 1972. Well, back in 1972, we didn't have that much choice either. If you ate something like
there's too many
yoghurt...
choices.
Yeah, look at yoghurt. They didn't even have it in 1972. Go in the supermarket now, yoghurt, 300 varieties. Fruit in, fruit out, sugar, no sugar.
Bio.
Bio, not really milk, yoghurt. I mean, it's like, oh, my goodness. And if you see people in front of it wandering up and down, they're just confused.
That's right, it's annoying. It's like TV is annoying. There's so many channels.
Well, we used to
So
have
it's like,
three,
what do
didn't
you
we?
want to watch?
I think
It's
the
like,
thing
I don't
is, though, you can make a decision quickly and it's more likely to be right than wrong. If you dither, once you go into that spiral, like, for example, you go out to eat. Back in my day, i.e. Stone Age, you go to a cafe, egg and chips, egg. You know, chips. That was it. There was like 4 things on the menu. Now, that egg, you're going to know where it was born, who it said hello to, what colour the yolk was, whether it was in a windy penthouse
Which
or...
egg do you want from which
egg?
bird?
Yeah, exactly. Even eggs. I go to the supermarket, eggs is a nightmare. Free range, barn eggs, free range. You know, lovely blue eggs. Are brown eggs better than blue eggs? That's done my head in a couple of weeks.
It's like coffee, Linda, isn't it? It's coffee shops
is,
now. We
yeah.
just go and have a tea or a coffee. Now
I
it's
think
like
I'm quite good at
latte,
making
skinny
decisions.
thing, macchiato,
Yeah.
Americano.
What is macchiato?
I don't know.
I don't know. But I'm good at making decisions for myself, and I was really good with my kids and that because I knew what they liked to eat and everything until they became vegetarians. Then everything changed then because you had to find somewhere apart from... Because most of the time, I'm talking about 10, 15 years ago, then you'd get goat's cheese salad and that was it. That'd be your vegetarian...
Or
option.
lentil, something brown
or
and
something.
lentil-y.
So, but now it's obviously much easier. Now they're vegan, which I thought, oh, for God's sake, now what am I going to feed them on? But it's actually quite easy to get the vegan stuff and everything now. But I went for breakfast with my sister yesterday and we were supposed to be going at probably about 11 o'clock and I got there, she's still in her pyjamas. I'm going, where do you want to go? She went, oh, I don't know, it's up to you. So I said to my other sister, where do you want to go? I don't mind, it's up to you. I go, well, one of you tell me where you want to go. It ended up being like 12 o'clock before we actually got to the restaurant after about half an hour discussing which restaurant we're going to go to. Whereas I would have just gone to the local one that I always go to. They would go, why don't we try this one? We've never been there before. Oh, no, I don't really like that one then. Anyway, we went there and we had a nice breakfast in the end.
Also,
it
if
is
you've got a
tiring.
big
It is
family,
tiring.
like your family, it must be hard to organise anything because if everyone's got to say where you want to go...
Honestly, even on the family group chat where there's about 27,000 of us, it's like, you know, when we went away recently, well, where do you want to go? What time are we all meeting? What are we doing when we get there? I was reading it all, and in the end, I just put, tell me where I'm going and what time you need me, because I don't mind what we do.
Yeah, I've just been on holiday with 5 friends, and in the morning they say, what are we doing today? I went, do I look like a tour manager? You're all fully functioning adults. You've got guidebooks.
But I'd be scared of
they're
deciding for
probably
you.
scared to say to you.
Because if I said to you, oh, yeah, we're going here, you go, no, we're not. And I go, OK.
Well, we went to Italy, and one of them who was very, very aware of his very streamlined figure. I saw her eating at breakfast, just ate fruit, very, not eating much. We went in the restaurant at lunchtime. He looked at the antipasto and he went, "Are there carbs in that?"
Oh, no.
Oh, no, I can't go out to eat with people who are doing, "Is that carbs? How fattening is that?"
Have a chip.
Yeah. Live dangerously.
Chip and an egg.
Have a chip and an egg and a bit of pasta.
Yeah,
My
not
decision is
eggs.
like red wine, white wine, red wine, white wine.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're
really.
better just having both.
Just both. That's
Yeah.
what I do,
Yeah,
Cole. One of each and
absolutely.
then no decision to be made. But I do have to decide, are we going to the break? Yes, we are. And after
Nice.
that, yes, we are. Can you ever forget a cruel comment from your childhood? We're going to be revealing the ones that have stuck with us and how we have tried to overcome them. And she's breaking the internet on Instagram, one post at a time. Janet will be giving us a lesson, making her very chic swim hat. Look at it, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
Did you
Doing that
actually look really
right
good
after
there?
this break.
Thanks.
Hello, welcome back to Monday's Loose Women, and keeping you company this lunchtime, it is Colleen Nolan, Janet Street-Porter, Linda Robson and me, Ruth Langsford. Now, opening up about raising an autistic child, we'll be catching up with our guest Greg Wallace a little bit later. But first, as Janet's Instagram followers will know, she was away last week, but didn't have the best of weather again, so she had to get a little bit creative when she went swimming. Have a look at this. Look at that. Very jaunty. Now, I looked at that, Janet, and thought she's been to one of those little Italian boutiques
I thought she
somewhere.
looked really chic and
Florence
great, yeah.
thought
Yeah,
she's
she
bought
does.
some chic little swim hat, but no,
No.
not the
It
two.
rained every day on my holiday, my second holiday where it rained every day. And this time I was in Italy, the thunder, the heavens opened, it was a really torrential downpours. So I'd walked to the swimming pool, which wasn't near where I was staying, it was just down a little bit of a hill. And luckily I had my trusty shopping bag with me. So I'd got in the pool and it was pouring. So this is what I did. I made my swimming hat out of a shopping bag. Now, can I do it live on
Of course you
television?
can. Come on, Janet.
Oh, I
Every
don't
day.
know. It's a top tip, but, I was desperate. Don't you think I look a bit like cleaning lady in that?
No, I thought you looked very
All
chic.
right, OK, right.
Right, so hair up in a band.
Hair up in a bun, then bag on.
That's good.
Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd like that. Then the bag's got a little bit of a thing in it. Then
Are we going to try? We've all got a bag here.
come along.
Are you
Come
giving
along,
it a go?
ladies.
I haven't got a thingy to tie my hair up.
Yeah, you're being very
Do you want
slow.
one?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Where's my bag?
yeah.
Go, love.
Look.
Oh, is this one of it folded
This is
on
a
itself?
bit. This is not
How
your
did you
normal
get that out,
shopping.
Linda?
Take it out.
Oh,
You've
well,
got a big hat. It's bigger than mine.
got a big head.
Mine's vintage Woolworths in Australia from about 5 years ago.
You open this.
Fruit and veg department.
Is that open?
Darling.
I've only got one handle. Oh, no.
No, you haven't. You've got,
Got
two.
Right, OK. here
Wouldn't
we
it have
go.
been just cheaper to nip to the shop and buy a swimming hat?
Not when you're in the middle of nowhere.
Right, so...
Look, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. One of us was a fashion editor here.
Where's the handle? Hang on.
It's sad,
Janet, yours looks so good.
Yeah,
I've lost
look
nothing.
good.
How have you even done that?
I can't see anything.
Right, I'm going to do it. What did you do? You put it on.
You put it on, get your hair inside it.
Oh, get your hair
How's that?
inside it.
Right.
Is mine
Whip
on?
these round
Yeah.
to make strings.
Yeah.
Have you got it over your eye?
Yeah.
Then. Oh, it's a bit more
It's
puffy.
too tight.
Hang on, hold on.
And I'm in a swimsuit. I'm not going to pull looking like this,
No.
am I?
Oh, you've got too much hair, sorry.
How did we do,
I think that's
Janet?
quite nice, Janet.
How did we do?
Yeah.
Mine's mine did a jaunty angle. There was a bit of a breeze.
I think yours would be good. I dare you to wear that to Ascot. Ladies
I
say
could,
at
couldn't I?
Ascot. Very chic.
It would be very chic, like a homemade.
Yours is like
I do that, and then I can see.
Hilda Ogden.
OK, now
I knew you wouldn't be able to
Now
hold
I've
back.
got to be serious. There you go. OK. So I mentioned football with Peter Crouch earlier. He's been talking about being bullied on a global scale, he called it. This is when he first started out in football. He was only 16. People mocking the way he looked, in particular his height. And it did get us thinking about cruel comments that have maybe stayed with us. And Linda, actually, yours was from your mum, but you say she meant it from a place of love.
Yeah.
You think?
So I'd always been really, really slim, like a size 10, size 12. Then I had Lauren, and my body went straight back quite quickly after that. Then I had Louis, and then I put on like 4 stone. So if we were out anywhere, she used to go, salad bars over there. She'd go to me. And when I was on television, she always watched me, and so she'd go after, your face looked lovely. Oh, but your neck.
Oh, no.
That's the only one I've got, Mum. It's like...
No, but you did get obsessed. You used to
I
wear
did get
scarves
obsessed. I wore
all the
scarves
time.
all the time, didn't I? Yeah, I became really obsessed. So I'd have a scarf to go with everything I wore. I think the worst time someone sort of insulted me was I was on a plane. We were going to a friend of ours' 21st birthday in Scotland, and on the plane, on the way back, all my sisters were there, my nephews, my kids were there and everything. It all sort of went quiet for a little bit, and I thought, well, why have they all gone quiet? Anyway, when we got off the plane, Lauren showed me that it was a double-page spread up in one of the papers. I can't remember what paper it was, and it was me, like this. I was humongous, honestly. I've been to the cemetery to visit my mum and dad, so I was obviously scruffy and well in boots and all of that, and come back, and they were just saying how the success of Birds of a Feather had turned me into this humongous. We were saying because I had money now, I was eating more or something. I don't know, but it was really, really upsetting. My kids were really, really upset. And once I was in a restaurant with Pauline, and someone came up and said to me, "Don't eat that, love, otherwise you'll end up looking like her." I know, people can be so rude,
can be
can't
cruel.
they? I think when you're on the telly, they don't realise that you've actually got feelings as well.
But it's not even when you're on the telly. I remember when I was really, really, like, little toddler, and someone came, and you know the way you pick kids up, and they picked me up, and as they picked me up, they went, "Oh, you're a heavy one," like that. And it's what you'd say, isn't it? Oof, you're heavy. I think they probably meant, like, hoping I'd think I was grown up
Or
or
a bonny
something.
one or something.
But from that day onwards, I cannot stand being picked up. I can't stand it. And, you know, like, when I did Dancing on Ice, obviously you have to be picked up a lot. And it took a good month before I would let them even attempt. And I kept saying, I can't, don't pick me up. You won't be able to. I'm too heavy. You won't be able to pick me up.
So that stuck from such a young age.
And it stuck from a young age. And I remember Ray trying to carry me over the threshold when we got married, and I sat on the floor. I wouldn't let him. And he was going, why? And I went, you won't be able to. I'm too heavy. And I wouldn't let him carry me over the threshold.
You're still not really
I'm not
over it.
crying, by the way. I've got an itchy eye. I'm not that upset by it now anymore. But it just shows you that really think about what you say, especially to kids, because you think kids don't pick up on it. But I think you do pick up from a very early age. My sister, this sounds funny now, but for her it wasn't funny. She was the one from an early age that sang all the time, and she sang this really big song when she was really little, and as she took this note, they put a tomato in her mouth. A guy. And from that day to this day, my sister cannot eat tomatoes. She hates them. And that's from that moment where they all laughed because she was embarrassed. You know, if you embarrass a kid, they remember it.
I just remember at school, because I was the tallest girl at primary school, I was olive oil, then I got the National Health glasses, so I was 4 eyes. And then I was goofy because I had big teeth, and it was just terrible. And somehow, I suppose, I grew my hair longer. I got through grammar school because I was brainy. But then when I started as a journalist, and then I went on the radio in 1971, the outcry about my accent was ludicrous. It was just ludicrous. And so I had all these blokes, posh, white blokes of a certain age, snooty blokes, saying I sounded common, I was unintelligent, I was, you know, I should be put down. One man said if he saw me crossing the road, he'd run me over. And it really had an impact on me.
It would,
and it went on and on and on. And then finally, I just got up one day and I thought, do you know what? I've made it. I don't need it. I'm much tougher now. But I still think I went through at least 20 years of being upset by it.
Yeah, it does stick, doesn't it? And lots of you getting in touch. Carol says, I was fostered as a child after my mum died. I was on the street hoping to find someone to play with, and a girl came up to me and said no one wanted me on the street and no one wanted to play with me. I was 11. I often wonder if that girl ever remembers saying that to me. Joanne says, I was called tree trunk legs for years by a boy, and because of this, I will not wear a skirt or shorts to this day in public. Sue says, I was teased at school for being fat, and it stuck with me forever, so much so that I'm now anorexic. So it can really hurt people and really have such an effect. And in fact, Peter Crouch did go on to say, Janet, what you've just said, he talks about how it used to make him cry, you know, he's talked about his height, and he'd go on this pitch and he'd get booed, and he had to just take it. But he said it made him go, right, I'm going to show you lot. He said, you either go under or you can fight it. And he's fought it, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he's very, very successful. Thank you very much for your comments. I'm sorry we can't have time to read all of them, but we do appreciate you getting in touch. Still to come on Loose Women, giving us his take on that matter and all things fitness and family. Greg Wallace will be here to tell us all about his very special Father's Day. There he is, talking to Greg right after this. Our guest, Greg Wallace, will be along in just a moment. Before that, this is an interesting one. Would you go for dinner at a restaurant or a venue where they banned you from wearing perfume? I'm asking because the London restaurant is asking diners not to wear perfume, refrain from wearing scents, because they say it could interfere with the smell of the food.
Ooh. And what food is it? It's fish, isn't it?
I think it is a sushi restaurant, actually, but whatever restaurant, you know, they're saying if you've got a super strong scent, then you don't get the ambience and the smell of the food.
You're not selling it to me. It doesn't matter how many times you do that.
That's what they're saying. Would you go, or would you say, stuff you, I'm going next door?
I probably wouldn't go. It's just so pretentious, isn't it? What if you passed the smell test, but then your clothes had to smell? Or, you know, maybe you wouldn't wear scent, but your clothes might smell a bit woof. Well, depends how you got there, of course. No. I mean, I've got a very, very strong sense of smell myself, and I can open the fridge and tell if something's on the way out. I mean, cheese is terrible. I mean, men seem to like really stinky cheese, don't they?
I love stinky cheese.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think cheese always smells like it's going off.
Well, I like soft cheese, but then it goes into that unmentionable smell. But no, in a restaurant, I mean, telling you not to wear perfume.
Yeah.
I think restaurants now are getting so pretentious. I read in the paper about 2 days ago, there's a restaurant of the year in Wales where there are like 70 courses or something. It costs like £500 a head. And I think, oh, I'm so glad I'm not going there. I've got no desire to go there.
It's just something you automatically do as you're leaving the house, don't you? Have a little spray of something and smell it and you smell nice.
And also, they need to pass the taste test in the restaurant. Never mind what we smell like. Your food better
Let's
taste
see what
good.
exactly Colleen knows.
That's it. That's my political statement for today. I knew I'd get it in.
I can't wait to ask Greg Wallace about that, but he's a super sniffer. He must have a good sense of smell, doesn't he? Before we talk to Greg, though, it's competition time for you again. Andy Peters is live for us with all the details. Where are you, Andy? Somewhere sunny.
It's very sunny here, in fact, Ruth. I'm at Danbury. Now, you're wondering, what did Danbury do? Well, Danbury make these fantastic camper vans that surround me. These are not up for offer today, but this one is. We're running our £250,000 competition prize, but the bonus prize this week is one of these, your very own camper van. Now, it takes a team of experts to create these camper vans. Expert number one from Danbury is the lovely Aaron. Aaron, what do you do here at Danbury?
Oh, yeah, I strip the van, fit the diesel heaters, and cut out and fit the pop-top roofs.
Got a lot of work to do. Thank you very much indeed for your work. Next up, Sol. Sol, what do you do?
So I build and fit the furniture to the customer's own choices.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Is ours done really well?
Oh, it's lovely.
Excellent, thank you very much indeed, Sol. And finally, Simon, what exactly do you do?
I sell them.
You sell them?
I do.
And we bought this one from you?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure.
We've got it, but it could be yours. As well as that, here's your chance to win £250,000. It's a life-changing amount of money. Remember, someone is guaranteed to get that £250,000 totally tax-free. And if you enter before 4 o'clock on Friday, you're in the draw to win one of these two. Good luck. For another chance to win £250,000. Text cash to 82248. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message, or go to the website. Entries cost £2. You can call 09068 782248. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and phone number to Van 25, PO Box 7558, Derby, DE1 0NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on Friday the 7th of July. Make sure you enter before 4 p.m. on Friday the 23rd of June for a chance to win the camper van. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Andy. Now, we know him best from nearly 20 years of hosting MasterChef, and more recently for his incredible lifestyle transformation. Here to talk all things food, fitness and family, please welcome Greg Wallace.
Hey. Ladies! Janet, come on, fist pump, mate. Boom! You all right, good?
Nice to see you. I just said before you came on, I bet Greg Wallace is a super sniffer.
Yeah, I think that's rubbish, don't you, the perfume?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a strong perfume. You can't smell a pork chop.
Yeah.
And I like the smell of fragrance.
Yeah, I do. Well, except cheap ones.
But what about if you've just used a strong carbolic soap? I mean, is that...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But
How you
also-
doing, mate? I haven't seen you for a while.
I'm all right, thanks. Do you want a sniff?
Wow.
For those of you that me and Janet used to live near each other, I used to see her when I used to walk down the beach and
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
What a thing to say, I'm all right, do you want a sniff? I'm going to use that.
Just making conversation, because I know with Greg, if I give him too much leeway,
Right.
he'll
take
be
him out.
right in there.
What was she like on MasterChef?
Well, both these ladies were on MasterChef.
I was first one out.
Yeah.
The first one out?
Yeah.
I was in the toilet ringing my mate to ask him what to cook.
Both really good cooks. Look, you work with Janet.
She was fuming she didn't win.
She could
Yeah,
be...
well, I won the second time.
Yes, you did.
Only
You come
be-
back...
When you gave me the prize the second time, I could not believe it. It was one of the happiest days of my life, because when I didn't win the first time, I was so sour about it and horrible.
No, I would never have known.
But the second time...
She threatened to throw cutlery at the director.
Yeah, and I think you picked on me more than anyone else. If we're going to settle scores today, when I was on the first time, you were constantly by me as I was trying to do very, very complicated. I had to do a treacle tart or something. It was driving me mad. You kept coming up and talking to me.
Well,
It's a show.
I know it's a TV show, but I think Greg focused
And
on
he's the
me.
host of it. What's he meant
I was
to
trying
do?
to help you. I was trying to help you.
Oh, no, you
Beautiful cook, the presentation skills of heavyweight boxer.
Let's talk about food, because I know it's very important to you and your family, your wife Anna and your son Sid, and you live with Anna's mum and dad, which sounds wonderful to me, and because you talk about every meal is a celebration. You don't just grab something and have someone has a sandwich and someone has this... Every meal is a sit-down together.
I mean, the journalists are really interested in this, how you live with your in-laws, but they're Italians. In the south of Italy, that's quite normal.
Yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
over here, it seems strange. And they're all really good cooks. So we do all eat really well, but we all eat healthy food all of the time. But everybody in there knows how to cook. I think it's healthy is organisation.
Yeah.
It's not anything else.
Would you argue, though, that the Italian diet is more healthy than some British food? Because I know you like your British food and I know you like your steak pies and all that kind of thing. But having just spent a week in Italy...
Where were you?
In Tuscany, and I thought, I've eaten pasta every day, but somehow I don't feel bloated, I don't feel like absolutely stuffed. What is it about Italian
Well,
food?
you know that I help people with weight loss, right? There's nothing wrong with carbs.
No.
There really isn't. The biggest problem we've got is that food happens to most of us by accident, that we don't know what our breakfast is going to be, so we grab a pastry. We don't know what our lunch is going to be, so we grab a meal deal. We don't know what our dinner's going to be, so invariably we look in the fridge, then we phone for a takeaway. And all the time this continues, we keep spending more money than we should on food, and we keep eating unhealthy food.
Whereas processed food.
Lots of processed food, too much fat, too much... Where, you know, a bowl of carbs, I eat pasta. I eat potatoes.
Moderation in all things, as my granddad used to say. I want to talk to Greg about your lovely son, Sid. Now, Sid, you've talked about before, is autistic, and he's non-verbal autistic. When did you and Anna first realise? Because it's Learning Disabilities Week, which is why I know you want to talk about. Look, there he is. What a
Squid! We call him the Squid. Look, he looks like his mummy, doesn't he? He's a beautiful boy.
I think so many of us have preconceptions of what autism might mean, and then when you actually are living with it, dealing with it, helping him, it must be very different, maybe, to how you thought it would be.
Well, people don't realise I was a single dad, so I got custody of mine when they were 8 and 10, so I brought them up on my own. Not brilliantly well, but down to them, they've turned out really well. So it's very, very different. I've now become an ambassador, official ambassador for Ambitious About Autism, which works really hard to get education for autistic youngsters. All I would say to parents, imagine a child that you can't bribe and you can't threaten. It's really quite difficult. And
for reason, I presume.
Yeah, and he gets more frustrated as he gets older and he can't tell you what it is that he wants. But he manages, he'll grab your hand, take you over to the fridge, put your hand on the fridge door, and if it's an ice cream on the top shelf, there he is, look. Yeah. There's little Sid. Hey, look, he'll give me a high five. Now, look, this is development, OK? Now, this isn't as good as other kids, but that is development for us because we had a year, 18 months of no eye contact, not answering to his name. Now he's giving high five. He ran up the hallway for the first time ever and squealed when I came home from work. And that's the first time that's happened as well.
How do you deal? Because one of my husbands had a son with severe learning difficulties, and I looked after that boy for 4 years. And he was non-verbal. So I really understand that frustration they feel. Has it been really tough when they lose it? And how you bring them down again?
Yeah, because you don't know why they're having a meltdown. You don't know. No, the other day, we think he might have banged his nose because he ran up the step. We don't know because he can't say. So we don't... This is the problem, and we worry, we really worry. This is why we really need some form of communication. We worry that if he's ill, he can't tell you what it is. So there's just lots and lots of concerns.
You and Anna will be so tuned into him. You know what I'm going to say because we're running out of time and you get this, live TV, etc. But I know that you and Anna will be so tuned into him and you talk so passionately about him, and he's very lucky to have two parents who are so passionate about his future.
Well, we love him to bits. He's our little boy. And whatever it is he needs, we'll find.
Well, he's lovely. Greg, we do have to leave it now. MasterChef and everything else, wonderful. We love seeing you on it. But thank you for talking about that today.
Can I just quickly mention the weight loss and the Show Me Fit?
Literally,
is that
I've got
all right?
3 seconds.
That's it, Show Me Fit. And me and Greg James are going to be doing Celebrity Gogglebox.
That really is time from us. Colin, Janet and I will be back tomorrow with Frankie. Have a great afternoon. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.